Hi everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to another Marvel Rivals video. This is going to be something that we haven't done in a while. Frankly, I didn't have time to record, so this is going to be a game that I ended up doing on my stretch to when I hit Celestial here in the newest patch. So this is up to date of the Ultron patch. Just a big heads up, so that way people are not wondering, hey, is this the newest patch? Is everything out and about quite yet? As you can see, the bands are a lot more catered to the patch that we are currently on with Emma Frost, Punisher, Storm, and Hawkeye. To start things off, I'm going to go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. I do personally think that this current meta does not favor characters that are melee based. So what do I mean by that? I mean like Spider-Man, Panther, Magik, and certain tanks. I do not think are having a really easy time overall, and I think that has a lot to do with, yes, the flyers. A lot of people were asking me about like the pennies and the Hawkeyes and everything like that. No, it is specifically in context of the flyers. You take out the flyers, then it is just season 0, and for that I am advising people the best thing that you could possibly do with the given season is try to ban flyers and hope that your team will do that, because as a lot of you know, if they have like 2 flyers, and I'm not really including Ultron so much, but more so like if they're running like 2 damage flyers, things become a lot harder. So like if they're running Iron Man and Storm, or they're running Iron Man and Torch, or Torch and Storm, the game does get a lot more frustrating for those characters because you essentially do have to swap. This is the first time on this channel that I'm actually letting people know that I am actively not playing Magic into those situations. Only if I'm seeing like, oh, they're not playing like 2 flyers. Like I'll play Magic, and if I see, oh, they're running 2 flyers, like they're running their 2 damage flyers, I will then swap. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into the video. I know a lot of people were very curious about my thoughts on this. I know I haven't really given my direct take. This is going to be a game that we ended up playing pretty well into, all things considered, that I wanted to go over. Off rip, they are running the Penny and Rocket comp, and on Hall of T'Challa, Penny Rocket is actually pretty solid. It's a fairly decent like character structure to be running. A lot of people always ask me, this is a part of the reason why I actually also wanted to like take this video, like this game in particular. I really like Magic on Hall of T'Challa. I like the verticality that you can get. I like the routes that you can end up taking. I hardly ever take this route over here on the right hand side because I don't like the fact that you have to use an ability to go up here is really, really frustrating for Magic. I much prefer the act of like actually going here on the left side and using it that way. For me, it becomes a lot easier to manage and actually go about fighting in team fights, which is good. Okay, right there I just saw that Psylocke was alone, so I figured it would be a good idea to go and kind of jump on her rather than go in into the backline. Just because I saw her, I was like, maybe we can get a free pick and then start rolling the ball. Killing a damage character makes fights a lot simpler because they have a lot less DPS burst. Same thing here. I kind of float the idea of trying to fight. My team is already kind of far up, so this is a little bit different because if we look, our team is a little bit further pushed up than they would have been down here, which is why I'm here on the right-hand side. Looking at like where they are, like as kind of like invisible markers, right? So if we'll call like where this group wall, we'll call this like the line of scrimmage, and then our Strange and Luna are past it. Whether or not our Luna is a little bit too over pushed for where they are is relevant here. I more so just care about where are their bodies in relation to me, so I can understand how much pressure are they taking off of where I'm standing. However, as you can see, other than diverting attention away from this side, like I don't really think that we're doing all that much for our team. But that's okay. You know, that just happens. I would probably move closer to the left. We get a good pickup. A large thing that you'll notice as well with Hall of T'Challa is that this point in particular is really, really momentum based. So you'll find if you get a first pick, whether you're on attack or defense, typically with this point, and I think this is actually a flaw on the point, the push is pretty much done and it's over with until, like, unless they have a strange portal or something like that that pops out, right? Frankly, that's my opinion on the current state of this point. Kind of just hovering around. Okay, so skipping ahead a little bit. This is a good chance for us to kind of show this off. For this reason, I actually think that Magic does not play that bad into Penny. I've been seeing this quite a bit, where people ask me, hey, how do you deal with Penny mines? This is a big way. Penny with the rocket team up becomes a little bit more scary for sure, but Magik is not completely out of options. Magik's actually the best diver to deal with the penny mines, just because if you are able to go and find them, and getting rid of the nest essentially makes Penny a lot weaker. It kind of cuts her legs off in a way, right? So using a portal to go and break one of these is really helpful in a lot of ways, because like there's a lot of pressure being taken off of me, and if we can end up breaking this, then it's great. I'm not sure if a lot of you know this, but even if Penny recalls this, the cooldown timer is actually relative to the HP on the nest. So even if we get it to 1 HP, which I think we do, because she takes it here, it's still a lot of cooldown that she ends up losing. And the other Penny nest is actually a lot weaker, I do believe, than the primary one that she puts down. I think it has a lot less HP, the armored nest, which is great. But the reason why I kind of wanted to talk about this is because if we back up just a little bit here, we're not gonna like stay on this super duper long. But remember how I said earlier, where it's like try to keep an eye on where your team is in relation to you, especially now. This is incredibly important because characters like Magik, Black Panther, etc., are really, really dependent on what your team is doing to kind of get the ball rolling. Even though you're diving, you're not operating alone, right? The pressure is being divvied out elsewhere, which is a kind of a hard problem to have. So I think that I'm actually the reason why this fight goes south, because they're so far away from me, and I'm so like located off here, and I hyperfixated on this penny nest. And for that reason, I actually think that I put my team in a bad situation. And even if we just like look at how the fight plays out, we are like hard losing, and then I come back and I myself end up feeding for it. So I am 100%, I was not even a part of this. I essentially made it a 5-on-6 for no damn reason at all. Invisible Woman can get back to her team so much quicker just because of where she's located, and that itself is a very, very, very large problem, as we saw. Okay, so right here, kind of timer we're using to like decide when we're using our ult. So as we can see, like we press tab, not even taking a look at like what ults they have. We have all 6. We literally have everything. Full loaded gun. 6-shooter is locked and loaded, ready to go. And then we hear that the Iron Man ends up dying. There's a good probability that the rocket will end up getting a res, but at the time that actually did not come to mind. This is more so to kind of explain the line of thinking. So we end up falling off, but after hearing the Iron Man died, if I would have taken an extra second to just kind of take a look at the top right, I would have noticed that he did get rezzed. But the idea here is to kind of push with tempo. So on the off chance that Rocket wouldn't be here, I actually still really, really enjoy the idea of trying to ult here, because it's also forcing out the Invisible Woman ult. She's having to do this to help the Groot. We are rocking and rolling with tempo because we did end up getting the pick, so we have a bit of a good time to go and push. And our angle is great. Moving from this upper area up here, it's a great off angle. What do I mean by an off angle? Of course, I mean an angle where they're not going to necessarily be looking at us. Why are Rocket's legs doing that? They're really long. But as you can see, kind of like they're going to have to get rid of their attention from what is inside of the ult and look up here in order to deal with me. Otherwise, what's going to happen is I'm going to get a really good opportunity to just do a lot of damage, be kind of a problem. And then, again, because we have all 6 ults, we have a really good opportunity to roll with a bunch of cooldowns, and they end up just losing the penny, and we get the kill on the invis, and then Groot ends up dying here as well. Not really sure why we Luna ulted, but beyond the point. Overall, I love this play quite a bit more. And again, like we talked about, Hall of T'Challa has a lot of verticality, so we are actually able to come up here onto this bridge and be a little bit of aggressive on Iron Man. I actually enjoy this map for Magik versus Flyers quite a bit more than others, just because also you have this angle up here. If the Flyers come up here, you can dash up here, and then you can start like being a little bit of annoyance. You can be up here on the staircase. There's a lot of natural cover. You know, you have the cart, lots of good placed health packs for divers and 1v1 characters, things like that. So it works out for Magik quite often. And then we want to just like be pushing, make as much space as we possibly can so we can get this cart, because as you can see, it is still quite far. Rocket ends up taking it. That's fine. It's whatever. But we get another pick, and this is great because it's also going to stagger us because he tried to do something cheeky, which is really great for us in the long run because we're going to allow ourselves to get a lot more distance on the cart. Okay, good. Another thing. Oh, I actually do want to go over this a little bit. You will see, I know Thing is a rather annoying character for a character like Magik, and I know a lot of people agree with this, obviously, right? He has a lot of stuff in his kit that really helps with against divers, but Thing is actually way worse into flyers than characters like Magik, because he's quite literally all boots on ground, no way to catch up to him, literally useless ult against them, right? So Magik is actually into a spot where you worry about Thing quite a bit less because the character is not nearly as prevalent as he once was because of the inclusion of Emma, who hard counters Thing way more than she does Magik. You also have characters like the flyers and things like that kind of just shove him out and they poke him to death because he's just sitting there taking a lot of damage. In fact, although some people would consider Penny and Thing being counters to Magik, into our comp in particular, I talk about this a lot where I like relegate Magik to more of like a supporting cast role than I do like a main character role, where she does have the opportunity to be really aggressive and take command if played in a really good situation. Iron Man is able to poke out a lot for us, get them low, and then we can be the cleanup crew that is really helpful for. And it is a very nice combo to have because Penny and Thing are both just going to eat damage constantly all day long. Iron Man's just going to be charging ult no matter what. Like, as you can see, 95, 93, 100%. He's already back to his ult, and he just used it earlier in the fight. So it's great. It's really good for Magik. See, even there's another ult, and he just blows up the Rocket Raccoon ult. This is another reason why I really hate Iron Man, is that he's just able to shut down supports. So my #1 ban this season for people that want to just play Magik, play a lot of her, and let me tell you, unless you're in top 500, you can make this character work in low elo. Like, people are playing her just fine in like in Eternity lobbies right now. You're just fine, right? Like Eternity all the way down to Celestial, totally fine to play this character. You might have some issues, but unless you're playing at the top, if you're banning Iron Man and Gold, people tend to be a lot worse at Storm, and Torch is not nearly as good as he was last season. You can make this character work with some issues. I don't recommend one-tricking her, but it's definitely doable, definitely possible. I've been playing her. She's still my most played, I believe, as far as the season goes, and I'm still having a lot of fun on her, right? Make any character work. This character is still very much a very big, if you have momentum, you are just going to be doing just fine on her, which is great. Okay, huge, we get a nice pickup. And now we're just going to be coming back to our team. Obviously, the support ult is up, brawling away, trying to build as much shield as we possibly can, and just getting our picks when they are needed, and making space as much as we possibly can to push the cart as far as we can. We have a lot of time. We have about 3 minutes and 40 seconds, so it's a very huge help for us to just get as much space as we possibly can, right? Which is great. Okay, so moving on, you'll see they actually end up swapping over to Magik on their own as well, which is a bit interesting because you don't really see this a lot. We made the Iron Man after we killed him a minute ago swap over to Magik as well, which is definitely weird. But you'll often see me at times do this a lot. I don't really talk about this enough, like in my live commentaries, which we have more of those coming. So I'm going to shamelessly plug myself and say, if you like this video so far, please like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Go follow the Twitch. We stream all sort of kind of often over there, and you know, this, that, and the other. But I really like to hover a little bit in this like middle area, right? So our team is pushing, the cart is here. There's not really a whole lot of reason for me to be making like a bunch of flashy space up front as it is. But they swap over to a dive character, and Magik dives. And because we're playing in more of this gray area, you don't see damage players do this enough, I think, where they're playing around their supports and setting them up to be in a good spot. Because frankly, if they die, then this push and all of our momentum is out the window, right? And it's only so strong because they're able to keep our team healthy, which is always a good thing. Magik ends up diving, and the first thing that we do is turn around and help with it, which is great. And we actually end up getting the kill. Rocket ends up falling, which sucks, but hey, she did not get the kill on Luna. But after we do this, we can take another check. You're always going to see me do this. I love to press tab after a fight or an interaction happens and see what are we looking like, right? So it's always really, really helpful to be pressing tab. What are our ults and what are we going to be doing with them? Strange ult is a top tier phenomenal ult that can really, really steamroll and hammer home a game. And Magical, as we all know, if given a proper situation, can really carry a team fight, no problem, no questions asked, which is great. So upon getting the kill on the Magik, I take this chance to go and kind of stir something up so we can keep our momentum, because we lose Iron Man here, and I really want to keep as much space as we can and cause as much commotion as we can. So Strange ends up getting his ult off, which is great, and we end up getting 2 more picks, and we can keep the ball rolling. I love Magik for momentum ults because this character can just go in and then she's like a beacon of light that they have to deal with, because you do so much damage if you can land abilities. Abilities meaning like your dash, or like if you get a really, really good proper placed demon down, it does so much damage they just have to deal with. So even though we didn't get a kill, we enabled our Strange to also walk forward and gave him the confidence that he needed for us to start making a giant ruckus around there, right? Which is great. And then we keep the giant amount of momentum that we have coming, which is really, really good. And the Magik dies, and again, they are staggered yet again. And no biggie, now they're on Spider-Man. And again, they're down a person, so I want to try my best to get a free pick as best I can. And I end up falling off here. The idea was for me to try to get it like a kind of cheeky pick, but they have the cloak ult, so it's kind of really, really wishful thinking. Best option here, rather than be fighting here and then like dying, is that there was a really, really big angle for me to dash back into our team, so I could sit there, gain my HP back, and then I could be in a lot more of a comfy space for the rest of my team to end up winning. Thankfully, because of the Luna ult, they're not just like completely without a fight here, which is good. Until, well, of course, they get hit by the Magneto ult, which sucks. But I believe this is going to force us to kind of take a little bit of a backseat for a moment. Okay, we get a good kill. Yeah, and then we're kind of in another situation where we're staggered, and we have to refresh, which is fine. We still have 2 minutes. It's a super duper winnable situation to be in, of course. Of course, of course, of course. Okay, so upon starting this fight, right, we kind of notice that Mag gets low. It's really, really important. The whole idea right now is that we have 28 seconds, and I don't want to risk diving the backline currently because I'm worried that we might get dove because they are running 3 DPS, right? So they're running Psylocke, Spider-Man, and Magik. So it's very, very heavy on the backline damage dealers, right? So the worry is that I go too far, and then our tanks move up a little bit too far. And then, sorry, I had to burp. They are in jeopardy. Once Magneto dies, the dynamic changes quite a bit. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we just got a follow in the middle of recording. Thank you so much, Rongshu. Anyway, the dynamic changes quite a bit, which sucks, and it can be really, really dangerous for us, of course. Or no, it's great, it's great, it's great. Ignore that. That follow threw me off. But now, because of that death, we are able to move in. We do end up losing our rocket, which sucks. Like I said, this is the whole point of this, like, being worried about this. Even through, like, the penny mines and whatnot, we do end up losing that person, which sucks. The whole point of us here is to build momentum back up, like we talked about earlier, because Magik is really, really good at doing that. We get the pick here, and now the whole idea is that we want to be a kind of, like, gray area, right? So, as you can see, like, we turn and we hear that. Now the whole idea is that we want to cut off resources from this person and then kind of become a bit of an issue so that way we can keep the fight going, which is what we're doing by killing the Luna Snow and then portaling back so that way we can be safe and sound and live. We are causing so much problem, because Psylocke and Luna cannot go past us until we are dealt with to help the Magik. So they cannot regain their momentum and push back into us, right? So it's really, really good because Magik, as in her ult, is making a lot of space unless you're being able to be one-shot, which would have happened if we got frozen, or say Psylocke came and like hit us with the nasty one-shot combo. But Magik ult is really, really evasive because of all the portals flying around, which is good, which is really great. And again, right here, I'm not so much worried about doing anything flashy. I just want to keep the ball rolling as much as we possibly can. by playing off of ultimates that our team uses and whatnot. Kind of coming back, always making sure. Always, I don't touch on this enough, but I do this a lot in my videos. I don't love to just like straight up always use my dash, especially in support ults. You don't get really much value out of doing so. I love the idea of just like, I love using it to just like get out of a situation. It's a lot better, it's a lot more consistent, it's a lot more safe. It'll save you from a lot of damage from like characters like flyers and whatnot if you just use it to fly away, which is a lot more helpful. Or to secure a kill like this one where you get so close that it's almost damn near impossible to miss, right? Which is good. And again, like we were talking about earlier, keeping as much of the momentum going as we possibly can. Why did she say that? One lucky cut out on the way. Who said that? What the hell? Oh, it's about Bass. But that's the end of the first. Super duper great. Very, very lovely. Not perfect, but overall, it was pretty solid, I'd say. 19 final hits to end the first half, which is pretty good. We have high damage numbers, all things considered. Remember, damage is not necessarily a judgment of if you are doing your job right, but it's a good indicator of, hey, how many ults have I gotten in X amount of time, right? Which is good, which is really, really great. Okay, so for this point at the start on defense, I really, really, really like holding this upper area, breaking this. I actually saw this kind of placement from another YouTuber streamer named Sorkin, which is great. I used to take this left-hand side, but I actually grew to like this one a lot more because it opens up a lot more opportunities for you to take the staircase over here, watch, make sure somebody doesn't just quickly burst rush into this room. And then if you are able to snake your way around here, then sometimes you can get a really cheeky kill on a support character with your one-shot combo from your dash, your slash, like your projectile, and your uppercut, which is really great, which is super helpful, obviously. So it helps a lot. We'll go ahead and let this play for a second. You just say a choice between two dudes? Pause. What the hell? Happy Pride, I guess. And then, so like you'll see, like I kind of like wiggle my way down here a little bit more. I actually believe I end up missing, which blows. Oh no, I lied. I actually landed everything, but she got enough healing from the cloak and dagger. But you can see what I mean. Like, it's a really, really nice way to get a cheeky kill off the start that you can kind of go and just portal back into your team, which is really, really good. Unfortunately, I ended up dying because they're running Moon Knight, but overall, it was a good thought. It was a good try. No biggie. And I believe they actually end up just straight up taking the whole point because of this, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it definitely looks like it. I don't really see any way we're coming back from that. Even if we portal, I think we're just, like, in a problematic... Yeah. So, no problem. That's okay. And then off-rip, like, Okay. I see lots of players do this, and they come over here into this area. If spawning over here, never, ever put yourself in a position where you're holding this corner, because what ends up happening is that you're going to kind of put yourself in a really shitty spot where falling back to health packs takes you so far out of the fight. Like, it's so much harder to go in over here and get a health pack than it is to just come into the staircase and then come back and then play this area, because it's a lot harder of a choke to deal with because you're fighting with two angles rather than over here where they can come up here, they take this ledge, and then you're immediately pushed out between this and this to really, really big exposed angles. It's not very good. It's also not very good for Magik to just be over here in general, because in general, you're having to use a cooldown to get up here onto this high little ledge, which sucks because, as we said, you're just going to get pushed out. It's really, really hard to defend this ledge in particular. They have a health pack. They have their spawn room. You're dealing with a lot. Okay, and like I talk about this quite a bit, especially on this map. I love this hallway. I think this hallway is great. I think this hallway for Magik is huge. You stop the option. I know they're not running a flyer in this current situation, but flyers can't hit you in here unless they break a lot of the walls. It's a really, really good choke for you to get damage from demon. The best way that I could explain it, on the New York City map where you're fighting to get to the Baxter building, there are a lot of shops in the first choke, so you can use your demons in those doors to just build up a lot of ult charge. The same idea is here, because this choke, typically a lot of times this cart will end up like getting stalled right here, and it's just even better whenever you have a Penny right here, right? Because she's able to play in her mines, you're able to back her up quite a bit. I also like this because it disrupts the flow of transition from somebody coming up these stairs, as you will see in just a second, which allows you to win, because Magik still, to this day, no matter what people want to say, does pretty well in most 1v1s in Marvel Rivals. She just does, especially in close proximity where you're able to put a demon on somebody and fight inside of it. It's just really good for her. So we can hear the Magik coming, get a free hit off on her like immediately, which is great. And immediately just kite back into our penny mines like so, and then we're just fine. And then we get pressured by the Moon Knight, and we're just able to back up, place our demon down. And now the whole aspect of this is to kind of just able to run back because we have the window, and now we can go back to a brawling position, which is really, really good. Which is super solid. And then backing up into our team, and then we again take cover because we can hear the Magneto ult for safety. And then we always just default to coming back into this door because we can always just come out of it, play the natural cover really, really well, which is really super duper good for Magik. Okay, super cool. And now there's a bunch of penny webs all over the place. And again, where's the place that we're going back to? It's going to be the cart. And this is kind of scary. I can't believe that I'm actually just still sitting outside like this. But then we just go back in here. We're going to play on the staircase. We're going to make sure that we're listening for the transition of one of the damage players coming up here to take this space, which is super duper strong, as we've already claimed and seen. And then we just end up poking. We also get a really, really cheeky angle to start using an ultimate to just pressure really, really hard. Get 2 free picks. Great, super, very cool. And where are we going? Question is, where are we going? Just behind the cart yet again, so we can play around those stairs and just take that space back over and over and over again, and just constantly refresh it, no matter what. Wow, I'm just getting gunned down by the Luna. That's crazy, though. Okay, very cool, very, very nice. Okay, so over the course of this fight, it had already started, but I figured there wasn't much going on, and like as to what I was doing, and the video's already getting kind of long. We can hear the Bucky go ahead and ult, and then our Loki ends up ulting in response. That way he could pop his Luna ult to kind of provide a bunch of safety for us. Right here, it's important for us to just move along. Again, we talk about momentum. This is included on defense, not necessarily just on offense. Being as big of a nuisance as we can and building up as much ult charge as we possibly can. So that way we can get another instance where we have a really, really good ult for the fight. I'm risking a lot by actually trying to be super duper aggressive on the Squirrel Girl here. Super like weird matchup, by the way, Squirrel Girl versus Magik. I don't think Squirrel is very good. I think she's much more of a niche pick right now, and especially with like how much she can spam. I know there's an infinite ammo glitch going on with her, but I haven't seen it in like practice yet, which is very interesting yet, because a lot of people are talking about how broken it is. But okay, we're kind of setting up here so we can prepare to ult, and here we go. We hear our Mr. Fantastic ult, which is a huge opportunity for us. We do get ulted by the Namor, pretty much a solo ult, which is unfortunate. Overall, I like the idea of ulting. It's unfortunate that we got hit by this, but it happens. No biggie. No problem at all. Very unlucky, but thankfully, we end up evening it out quite a bit by taking off one of their damages and one of their tanks just the same, which is really, really good for us. Okay, so coming back off spawn, you'll see me oftentimes, like right now, they're not running very heavy dive characters. We see this because they're still running like the Moon Knight, the Squirrel Girl. So it's more of like bunker. They're very, very like death ball heavy, which for Magik is actually very helpful because it allows us to abandon, like so to speak, our backline and worry about them quite a bit less, especially in instances of OT like this where they're getting really desperate. And in times like this, people are actually more inclined to make mistakes just because they're getting desperate. They don't want to lose. It's very, very like stressful on them. So a lot of people will actually crack under pressure. In situations like this, especially with their comp, this would be included if they were running a flyer, by the way, because no matter what, even if we were back on our backline, they're going to die regardless of with or without us if they're being pressured by them. I really want to try and move into the backline and get into a position where I'm going to be able to get a really free pick and allow our team to kind of steamroll. Again, we talk about it all the time. Magik is a feast or famine character, meaning when a fight is being won, Magik is winning really damn hard. But whenever a fight is losing, it really sucks because Magik feels like one of the worst characters in the game, which is why you hear a lot of people say, man, this character's unplayable. It just sucks, and it feels worse than it does on most other characters. This goes for characters like Black Panther and Spider-Man as well, where you feel utterly useless. I think that Magik is definitely way better than those two characters currently in this patch, and probably a tier above them. But regardless, I digress. As you can see, the whole idea here is for us to move in and get a pick, and then our Strange ends up also getting a pretty good ult. And now we just, again, want to pressure their backline as much as we can, always looking to kill the people that are low or a support if we can find them, like how we can see this Luna off on the outskirts of the fight. Now she's just like straight up stepping up to us, which is really weird, but that's fine. We weren't able to get out, which sucks. The portal that they had was very helpful for them, obviously. But our team, I do believe, was able to touch and we were able to come back into the fight. I don't want to pause just yet, just in case, because I think that's what ends up happening. Okay, yeah. So we hear them ult. We're popping ultimate early, so that way we're not going to get stuck because we're animation canceling. We don't want to have the giant long uptime of the animation go off to get us killed here. So I'm going to sacrifice like the 1 or 2 seconds that we're going to lose, so that way I can come into the fight swinging and just dump as much damage as I possibly can, because we're kind of in a do or die situation. And always looking to go for either somebody that's 1 HP or incredibly like solidified by themselves, like a backliner, like a strategist like Luna Snow or Loki or something like that, right? Which is really, really good. So overall, we played pretty decent. 44 and 8, 27 final hits. This is in the current new patch. They were running a flyer at the start of the game. We were able to deal with them because of the help of the map and the natural cover. We were able to play off of our team's momentum. Magik is far from dead. It's just there are a lot more workarounds, and until we eventually, and I think that we probably will, because I don't think that anybody other than flyer mains like playing with it and like dealing with flyer characters, but they felt like they were a little bit quick to address the storm thing. I'm really, really hopeful that they kind of come and they're like, okay, we need to put a stamp on this. This is actually kind of unhealthy for the game. So I'm with you. I am understanding of the fact that the flyers are there. I just think that people might be dooming a little bit more than we probably need, just because it's pretty new and people don't like dealing with it quite yet because it's still incredibly new. But I have more Magik content lined up. Let me know. I would love to go and post more stuff with flyers. Obviously, there's not going to be games where there's like me versus 2 flyers unless it's a really, really big highlight and me just self-glazing. I genuinely don't think that you can play Magik into Storm and Iron Man at the same time. Not going to kid you around with that. It's impossible. It's so unfun and unplayable and not fun to watch unless you're actually God hitting every dash. But with bans, you can work around that, and I think that right now is just the worst time to be a one trick for Magik, but I think that she has a very solid role, and I think that you can definitely make her work if you put enough playtime into her, but it's going to be a hard journey, right? But I appreciate all the love and support, as always. I would appreciate if you like, subscribe, do this, that, and the other, and I love you, mean it, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya later. Love ya. Bye. Mwah.